Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about warm-up decrement, different constraints, and mental practice. And so these are things that just are important in terms of learning skills, performing skills, and testing skills. So first with warm-up decrement, it's a specific type of retention deficit due to loss of an activity set. Performance is initially decreased at the beginning of performance. So when you're testing a skill or having to use a skill, say in a game setting or something where performance is required, you want to warm up first. Our bodies have to get ready to perform, especially with tasks that take rhythm, take a lot of rhythm, or take performance, like where performance is required the first time. So an example may be shooting a free throw. When you get into the game and you shoot your first free throw, it matters if you make it. You don't get a couple tries. You only get one or maybe two, but that first one counts the same as the second. Or another thing might be like a round of golf. That first tee shot's really important. And so warming up, getting the body loose, and typically like what we've seen over time is performance is decreased at the beginning. So getting ready, getting kind of the jitters, the maybe little mistakes out of the way early so you're ready to perform. That's kind of the idea with warm-up decrement. Constraints, we have structural, functional, and environmental constraints that I'm going to talk about. First are structural constraints to a skill. So it's related to the body structure, height, weight, muscle mass, genetics. So for example, you could have the constraint of if you're 6'5", it's going to be difficult to be a really good gymnast because it's just typically gymnasts are smaller and better in that way, able to do more things with their body. And then other way around, like if you want to be a really good basketball player, being 6'5" would help, and maybe having high muscle mass where you can produce a lot of force, that's much more beneficial than being 5'4", as it would be in gymnastics. So there's just different structural constraints to look at when thinking about maybe what you want to do, what skills you may be better at than others. Another type of constraint is functional constraints. So this is relating to attention, motivation, fear, and previous experiences can play a role into this. And so like as you see on the screen here, I have Olympic high divers, and most likely the Olympic high divers don't have a fear of heights. A fear of heights may constrain them from being able to perform well in a high dive situation. Another thing is motivation. Growing up, if you really don't like football or you don't like contact, that motivation is going to be a constraint for you in terms of being a really good football player. And so you want to look at what you enjoy, what is appealing to you, because there can be some constraints just with ways that you're born or ways that you were raised that can cause or inhibit being good at a skill and performing it well. Last type of constraint is environmental constraints. So properties of the environment that exist around us, temperature, gravity, wind, gender roles, culture norms. And so an environmental constraint could be if you want to be a really good downhill skier, but you grew up in Texas, you might not have the opportunities that those in Colorado have to get better at downhill skiing. Another thing would be like wind. As you see in the picture in a golf round, if the wind is really high, it can be really hard to perform well. And so a constraint of good performance in golf could be that the wind is really high, and it's making it really difficult to score well. And so there's just different constraints with the environment that are also important to look at and take into account when looking at performance and skills. And then lastly, mental practice. So mental practice is cognitive rehearsal of a skill. It's kind of like studying for school, and a lot of times in sports you'll see it as watching film, like we see in this picture here. It helps with anticipation, which is super important for performing a skill well, and then visualization of an action. Watching maybe an opponent watching yourself perform a skill and being able to mentally rehearse what is going on can help lead to better performance of a skill.